The Amazing Fact and Story Machine. Introduction. Wherever you go, there you are. This is a quote from the author and philosopher Alan Watts. It means that we, as humans, are always in control of our thoughts and emotions. We can't change what happens to us externally, but we can change how we feel about it. The quote is taken from a book called The Wisdom of Insecurity. The book talks about how people are too consumed with outside influences in their lives, such as money or fame or relationships. Watts argues that these things don't matter because they're not permanent. Watts's philosophy was influenced by Buddhism and Taoism, which teaches people to live a simple life with few desires and worries. He believed that people should focus on living a simple life instead of trying to look for happiness in external things like money or fame because they won. In this section, we will explore the idea of being present and how it can be applied to our everyday lives. Many people are not fully present in their lives. They are constantly thinking about what is happening in the future or what has happened in the past. This prevents them from living in the moment and enjoying life as it happens. We need to be able to enjoy life as it happens and not just wait for something good to happen before we feel satisfied with our lives. Being present is a skill that needs to be practiced every day, because it is difficult to do on your own without support from others. Back in the day, people had to come up with their own stories about all of the interesting things that happened in their lives. Back in the day, people had to come up with their own stories about all of the interesting things that happened in their lives. Nowadays, we have a lot more options. That's because there are a lot more ways for people to share their memories than ever before. We can take photos and videos and post them on social media platforms. We can also use apps like Snapchat to send pictures or videos that disappear after only a few seconds. People can even use apps like Instagram and Facebook to share photos with friends and family members who live far away from them. These days, it's easier than ever before for people to share the memories they cherish with those who care about them most. Back in the day, people had to come up with their own stories about all of the interesting things that happened in their lives. Nowadays, they can just watch a TV show or read an article and get inspired by what they see. This required a lot of time and effort, but sometimes, it also resulted in some pretty great stories. The article talks about how copywriters had to do a lot of research in order to write a good story. It mentions that sometimes, the stories were great and sometimes they weren't. Copywriters had to spend hours on Google looking for information and then researching it before they could start writing. They also needed to find the perfect words for their article and make sure that everything was accurate. The goal of this post is to help you come up with your own stories. In this post, I'll give you some tips on how to come up with your own stories. 1. Find the right story. Find a story that is relevant to your niche and is worth telling. It should be something that people are interested in hearing about and would want to read about. It should also be something that you enjoy talking about and think others will enjoy listening to you talk about it as well. 2. Write down the story. Once you find a good story, write it down in detail so that you can remember it when telling it later on. You can use bullet points or a list of sentences for each event in the story so that it will be easier for readers to follow what happened in the story without getting lost along the way.